Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Even made a thumbnail for today. If you're new here, Liam Murphy, going to be talking all things fantasy football. Going to be talking about the impacts of free agency on fantasy football. And then we're going to draft a best ball team, 3-time best ball champion. We're going back in time here. Jumping right into it. Starting before free agency began, I believe this is the first real impactful signing, and that is, I guess it's a trade. DJ Moore was traded to the Buffalo Bills just before free agency started. Reactions from many at the time were negative. DJ Moore coming off not his best season of his career. I actually quite like this signing for a multitude of reasons. Number one, people want to hate on Brandon Beane, but he does quite well at, I would say, timing the market. He pretty regularly signs his own players and, gets some trades done before free agency starts. An example of that would be the Bills paying their center, Connor McGovern. And then what happens? Well, the Raiders, with a ton of cap space, absolutely reset the market, paying a center more than anyone's ever been paid before at center, which would have, made probably Connor McGovern tens of $millions more. This also happened with some other free agents with them, or restricted free agents in the past, such as Spencer Brown. Anyways, so DJ Moore traded to the Bills. I'm willing to forgive DJ Moore's season due to Caleb Williams is obviously a talented football player. He's obviously a talented quarterback, but he's not a perfect quarterback. The man still has a bunch of inaccurate throws, and I think the fit for Buffalo is actually awesome for fantasy football. So if DJ Moore is going to be relatively cheap in drafts because people are skittish and they're going to just listen to the masses who hate on this, I think DJ Moore is a screaming buy. He was already about 20 spots higher in my ranks than his ADP. I'm assuming his price is going up. I'm not drafted since free agency started. It's an excellent fit for Buffalo, where really, if you look at this free agency class for wide receivers, there's quite a bit of wide receiver needy teams going into free agency. There was Buffalo. There was the Chargers. There was New England. There was the 49ers. Some teams like the Chiefs, you could say. The Patriots, I don't know if I mentioned them. And so I think it's actually a really great time trade for Buffalo, where really the only free agent who is a wide receiver one, I would have said, is Mike Evans, right? And it's just a reality that not every team's going to get Mike Evans. And Mike Evans is on record where in the past he stayed in Tampa because of his family. So Mike Evans is not going to go just where he wants to go. It's also got to be where the family's comfortable. And you look at like Alec Pierce. I don't think Alec Pierce was truly a free agent, signed back with the team. Rasheed Shaheed, I don't think he was truly a free agent, signed back to the team. So love the trade for Buffalo. Could easily see DJ Moore. It's a different NFL from the COVID years where Stephon Diggs was putting up about 1,200 yards, 8+ touchdowns. Pass rate is down across the league. The Bills are in a new offense, but I could easily see DJ Moore 1,000 to 1,100 yards, 6 to 8 touchdowns, and more importantly for the game of best ball, which is where we play and where most of the money is, he is still an explosive player in the sense that he can actually win down the field. And that's a great fit with Josh Allen. DJ Moore obviously playing with the best quarterback of his career. Now, the Bills are not necessarily done at wide receiver. They could definitely still draft someone. They could still sign someone. There's not a lot of guys left, but maybe, Juwan Jennings or whatever. He's out there. But pretty safe to say DJ Moore is going to be the wide receiver one in Buffalo. Love the fit. We'll see what happens in the actual NFL draft. Maybe the team is banking on Keon Coleman, etc., taking a step. Probably not. The health of Dalton Kincaid remains a question. But yeah, love this signing. Stock up for DJ Moore for sure. And I could see him climbing. We're going to do a draft after this, so we'll see where he goes. But I could see his price climbing. Why is he not a 4th rounder, a 5th rounder, right? Are people going to be so biased against him? We'll see. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to scroll through Underdog NFL. Obviously, this is also good for the Bears pieces. Luther Burden, Roma Dunze. It was pretty crowded, and really the biggest stock up for Colston Loveland, who is already pretty expensive. But yeah, huge boost for them that they simply don't have another target to compete with. Moving on. And maybe the Bills slightly overpaid, but the Bills are a Super Bowl contender, so they absolutely should, right? When you're a Super Bowl contender, it would have been malpractice to go into the year without DJ Moore. Okay, we're going to try to get to actual start of NFL free agency here. Okay, Tyler Higbee is back with the Rams, so they still got a bunch of tight ends. We're going to move on to bigger pastures here. I don't think Geno Smith got released. Now he's on the Jets. A little spoiler there. Curtis Samuel got released as part of the DJ Moore deal. That was always happening. Okay, Treylon Burks, 1 year with the Commanders, 1 year, $4 million. Okay. Joe Mixon released. Is Joe Mixon playing football? I don't know. Dalton Schultz extension. This is somewhat meaningful. Okay, another one on the eve of free agency. Not too fantasy football, but I personally think this is not, the Ravens D-line was terrible as far as getting pressure, so it's good to get Maxx Crosby. But Maxx Crosby is 29. He is coming off of injury, and you traded 2 first-round picks, and this is not like the 30th pick. They traded the 14th pick. Now, I do think it's a little telling that both the Bills and Ravens, generally sharper front offices, were willing to part with picks in this year's draft. Most people are kind of down on this year's draft class. But yeah, I think if we go back to, like, as a Bills fan, I think the biggest mistake the Bills made in Brandon Beane's tenure would be paying 32-year-old Von Miller like $120 million at the time, right? He's 32. This is kind of similar to that. You're paying 2 first-round picks for a 29-year-old. Are the Ravens going to win the Super Bowl? I guess they're in contention, but this is their swing at it. Okay. A lot of teams were in on Max. Connor McGovern resigns with the Bills. That's a center. We're going to keep going. TJ Hawkinson remains a Viking. We're going to keep going. Khalil Mack. We're going to keep going. Alec Pierce eventually did sign there. We're going to get to the actual signing here. This is still... Okay, Mike Evans. Okay, James Conner remains with the Cardinals, and we're not done there. We'll put that on hold. Brian Thomas Jr. rumors. Okay, a corner got traded. The Chiefs are restarting their whole secondary. Bunch of corners. Tua gets released and then signed. We're going to touch on that when that actually happens. What are the Jets doing? I mean, trading for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Okay, that'll fix them. Don't think we've gotten to the start of free agency yet. All right. So now it started. Boom. First official free agent deal. Alec Pierce, 4 years, $160 million. Now, I think Alec Pierce is a good football player. I do. However, the Colts, I really think last year was their chance as far as trying to sneak a Super Bowl win. It was a down year for the AFC. You didn't have Burrow. You didn't have Mahomes. New England made the Super Bowl. Now they're paying Alec Pierce. Now they're going to pay Daniel Jones, it looks like. And so, okay, not the most exciting for Alec Pierce to remain with Indy. I would have liked him signing with the Chargers, with the Patriots, with really any of the better quarterback situations we would have liked. The real question is, they don't have a quarterback. And what will Daniel Jones even be coming back from injury? That's fair to question. And also there's been talks of Alec Pierce, who was roughly around 6 targets a game. There's talks, now that he's got paid, he's going to be 8 to 10 targets a game. And I don't know if that, like, not everyone's game can just scale like that, right? The NFL doesn't work like that, where it's just like, okay, this guy is making X amount of dollars, so now we will give him 3 more targets a game, right? That's not how it works. So Alec Pierce, very talented what he does, one of the best deep threats in the game. Is there room for his game to grow? He is a young player. I think that remains to be seen. And so, yeah, Alec Pierce, obviously a great player for best ball fit, and maybe he does grow. Maybe he mixes in some more slants in his game, whatever. But yeah, a lot of questions for Indy. It is a little funny that Malik Willis is making less than Alec Pierce. Okay, Alec Pierce. By the way, this is the most money ever for a wide receiver in free agency, which is going to happen every year, right? Salary cap is fake. Okay, Kenneth Walker signs to the Chiefs. Now, I think this is an exciting spot, but I do get the vibe that the market is going to be more excited than I am, right? Like, I want to see the price on Kenneth Walker. He's a good football player. But if this to people means Kenneth Walker is like a second round pick, that's a no for me. If this is Kenneth Walker is an early third round pick, I don't know. That's also a rough buy. He was around like 12 points per game last year. It's not like they are not going to have other running backs on the team. And so I got to really see the price with Kenneth Walker. He's an exciting player. He's explosive. But I really want to see what the price is, because the Chiefs in general are a little uncertain, where maybe they do lean on the run game more to start the year with Mahomes coming off of injury. In general, though, you don't think of the Chiefs as the most run-heavy team in the world. And maybe they're trying to – maybe the Ken Walker signing is a sign that is coming to be. So, okay, exciting spot, but early to mid-second, 16th overall is what I'm hearing. That's probably a no for me, right? Where when you think about it, it's like, are we really going to take Ken Walker 4 picks after Devon Etienne? Are we doing that? I don't know. It feels like every year there's a huge Ken Walker crowd. I've generally not been in on it, where I do see the upside. Obviously, he has, RB1 numbers, but yeah, I don't know. Tough. That's a tough price for me. And in general, in a market that has running backs more expensive than ever before, I'm probably going to want to get stud wide receivers such as George Pickens over him, right? Like, yeah, I think that the second sounds terrible. And, hey, don't worry about your old prices. The biggest prices we care about come Best Ball Mania. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, give me the stud wide receivers over Ken Walker. In general, I'm going to be like that over a lot of the running backs. Like, give me Jeremiah Love for pretty much the same price. Give me Ginty. Okay, Kate Otten is back in the Tampa. That's the biggest. Okay. I've been a Kate Otten guy, but Michael Pittman traded to the Steelers. Now, the Steelers got a nice price on this. Pittman has really struggled with back injuries. And that being said, I think we can assume the quarterback for the Steelers is going to be Aaron Rodgers. And I think Pittman really fits well with Rodgers in this RPO game, where you got DK Metcalf probably trying to go more to like a burner role, still getting some slants, and Pittman being the RPO option guy. I actually quite like that fit for the Steelers. Pittman, some people are like, oh, look how cheap Pittman is compared to DJ Moore. Pittman's not as good as DJ Moore. Pittman cannot win deep, for example, right? But he is a good possession wide receiver. I like that fit. Okay, Malik Willis signs to the Dolphins. Now, this is a lot to talk about. Number one, if you're a Miami fan, I think this is well, newsflash for you. Chase was not a free agent. So I believe it was the highest free agent contract. Usually the top guys don't hit free agency. Anyways, Malik Willis. Yeah, if you're a Dolphins fan, I think this is about as best as you could hope for, right? Tua obviously has not been the guy for a long time. Malik Willis did show some stuff with the Packers. Maybe he's a quarterback one in the NFL. I think it's still to be determined. Maybe that was just Matt LaFleur and the Packers roster. So in general, good for Dolphins fans. Flip side of that, not that great for Jalen Waddle, where the pass rate in Malik Willis games, I think, was like an abysmal 40% or something. So we're looking at a run-heavy Dolphins offense, which does make some sense in a division with New England and Buffalo. You probably want to run the ball, suck the air out of it. Not that great for Jalen Waddle, unless he's just like the only guy. Like, remember the DJ Moore years with Justin Fields, where it's just like him and a bag of peanuts? If that's where it is with Jalen Waddle, where it's like Jalen Waddle and the wide receiver 2 is like Malik Washington, it's like, okay, how bad can it really be? He's going to be, 900-ish yards, whatever. And so pretty good news for Malik. I think it's Malik Willis's fantasy upside is not really impacted too much where he lands. He's a fun fantasy dart. It is good sign that he's going to be a starter. I also don't think it's that bad for Etienne. Maybe it's great for Etienne. Maybe there's going to be a lot of dump offs to Etienne. I don't think it's quite going to be these like Tua games where Tua, won't run the football at all. But the option with Etienne and Malik, sign me up. I'm interested with that for fantasy. Okay, Isaiah Likely to the Giants for $40 million. Now, Theo Johnson was objectively good for the Giants. So I don't really think tight end was a big need for the Giants. Obviously, with Harbaugh there, Likely has familiarity. And maybe Dart is just kind of this guy who likes tight ends. It's always good to get another weapon. We do like Isaiah Likely, the football player. In general, we need to remain to be seen here. The big fly in the ointment here is like just how healthy is Malik Neighbors. But adding another weapon for Jackson Dart, certainly not bad. Try and move on to more fantasy football stuff. Okay, Kenneth Gainwell to the Bucks. I think this is honestly a pretty great fit for the team, and I like it for Gainwell, where Gainwell, just a better Rachaad White. Bucky Irving, not really built to handle the ball a ton every game, week after week. He did miss a lot of time last year, and also he's a good pass blocker. So I like Gainwell with Baker. I think he could get a lot of dump offs and kind of be like a 1B. So I will be buying the Gainwell price. Okay, moving on. Daniel Bellinger is a Titan. Familiarity with Dable there. It's whatever. The Titans did not, I guess they lost Chig. So it's Gunnar Helm. It's Bellinger. Hope it's cheap for them. Okay. Yeah, this is why paying the centers early was good. Huge center price tag to the Raiders. Now, not so bad for the Raiders faithful because their O-line was so bad last year, it's hard to even judge Geno. And good for GT, good for Mendoza, good for everyone, good for every Raiders fantasy piece, right? Wow. We're going to get there. I assume that's going to be, honestly, that's a win for the Ravens. 2 firsts. I'm assuming didn't pass his medical. It's kind of shady. It's kind of like, do they get to see how free agency goes and then they back out of it? Or maybe they're going to, we'll get there. Crazy though. Wow. These trades are never official until they're official. They're just like reported and who knows what happened there. Insane. All right, let's keep going. We're going to get there. All right. Tyler Algier, 2 years, $12.25 million for the Cardinals. So, all right, kind of confusing because now you got Algier, you got Trey Benson, and you got James Conner. I think most people were of the mindset that James Conner was closer to done. But this might be more of an indictment on Trey Benson. I would effectively be operating with the idea that Tyler Algier is the RB1 for the Cardinals, and then they're going to see what Benson and James Conner has there, but not a situation that I'm fully confident in, to be honest with you, as it stands right today. I would think Algier, James Conner, and Trey Benson would all be similarly ranked, and probably you should take stabs at all of them. James Conner would be the one I would not want to take the biggest stabs on due to age and injury history, but, he could have a twilight season. Okay, Travis Etienne to the Saints. This is a weird one. He's from New Orleans, so familiarity. Really did not see this one coming. Leaves Alvin Kamara's future weird. Maybe he ends up in Seattle. Like, Seattle needs someone to carry the load to start the year. They're probably going to draft someone. I think they got plenty of cap space. And so, Ken Walker's gone. Etienne's not going there. Rico's not going there. Algier's not going there. There's like a lot of guys who I thought could like start there. We'll see what the price is on Etienne. I'm expecting it to be somewhat not crazy due to it being the Saints, but he's a eat your vegetables, objectively good pick, played well for the Jaguars. And who knows, maybe with maybe the Shuck offense takes a leap. Pretty easy division. Wandale signs to the Titans, another familiarity with Daboll here. And honestly, like, the Titans are not a desirable place for free agents. They have to overpay guys a little bit currently until they become desirable. And I like the signing. There's not that many, as we discussed, there's not that many wide receivers that actually hit the open market. And Cam Ward needs weapons. Like, who knows what Calvin Ridley is, And so, yeah, I like the signing. For fantasy football, it could be worse. They're starting to become a lot of guys for Tennessee. But yeah, I kind of like it. I'll probably be buying Wandale, and I think it raises the floor for Cam Ward and co. Okay. Jahan Dotson is with the Falcons. Who cares? The only thing that's notable there is that the Falcons don't have a wide receiver too. Like, Jahan Dotson on clear out routes, I guess it helps Pitts and Drake London. Okay, the Saints, by the way, also David Edwards, ex-Buffalo Bills guard, very good player, good for every Saint, right? He's a good guard, got paid a lot of money, but it's good for the Saints pieces there. Can't forget O-line, right? Case in point of, even when as bad as the Raiders were last year, if they had O-line, a lot of it would have looked better. Okay, this signing was just very weird. This is like a day 8 of free agency signing that happened on day 1. Jalen Naylor, 3 years, $35 million with the Raiders. I guess he's there to block and whatnot. He had some games, so whatever. Not fantasy football relevant, really. Okay, Mike Evans, 3 years with the 49ers. Now, I was already high on Mike in my rankings. I like this fit a lot. Again, I'm assuming Mike's family wanted to be in San Francisco, and Mike wanted to play for Kyle Shanahan. I'm a little surprised that he chose the 49ers because, in general, I would say the 49ers are a team a little bit on the downtrend, right? They did have like a reset year kind of last year with a lot of young players, so maybe some of those guys are going to develop, but, George Kittle is aging. CMC is aging. Brandon Ayuk is insane. So, what is Ricky Pearsall? And so, okay, Mike Evans lands in San Francisco. They also have to deal with the Rams, and they have to deal with the Seahawks in their division. So it's not like he's signing to a sure contender, going to be in the Super Bowl, which I thought he might be interested in. But for fantasy football, I think it's good for Big Mike, and I think it's great for Purdy. It allows George Kittle to get nice and healthy. And yeah, I'll be in on Mike. His price is probably going to be like back end of the 4th with his age. He's still got it to me. Okay, moving on. Oh yeah, and Mike, he signed a reasonable deal, right? Moving on. Charlie Kolar, blocking tight end, lands with the Chargers. Good news for Chargers fantasy pieces. I don't think it's a death blow to Oronde Gadsden, but is notable. They got another blocking tight end. He can also catch a little bit. I still think they have Will Dissly too. Okay. J.K. Dobbins signs a huge contract with the Broncos. I think in general, this is good sign for J.K., where he signs back to the team he just played for. He played quite well. And also he, it doesn't seem like the team has that much belief in RJ Harvey. And, I was of the mindset that like maybe the Broncos go get Alvin Kamara, but with JK there, probably not. Assuming JK's price is reasonable, I think he's a pretty good stab in best ball drafts. If he can just stay healthy later in the year, should be a solid, guy who can give you some usable weeks. And the Broncos lost a lot of free agents, but, retaining JK, I think pretty good for fantasy football wise. Okay. Yada, yada. A lot Brian Thomas Jr. Okay. Tua goes to the Falcons, and this is good and bad. This does not give us clarity on who is starting week 1 for the Falcons with Michael Penix hurt. Obviously, I think they want Penix to start, but what's good about it is like Tua can support a fantasy football offense, right? So if, it raises confidence in Drake London and Kyle Pitts, where if Penix can't start the year, who cares? You got Tua there. Both of them are left-handed quarterbacks. I actually quite like this fit. He's very cheap as well. Gardner Minshew signed to the Cardinals. Also, Jacoby Brissett. So currently, the quarterbacks for the Cardinals is Minshew and Brissett. They're almost certainly going to draft a rookie, or maybe next year's draft class is like the best draft class and they're going to tank, whatever. It's very bad for like Cardinals fans for having a fun, successful season. However, I think it's quite nice for fantasy football, where worst case, you got Minshew throwing it to Michael Wilson and Marvin Harrison. So I quite like this fit for the confidence in the Cardinals wide receivers. Brissett going to be the starter, apparently. We do have a coaching change, so the pass rate probably is going to be down, but like they're not going to have him go down to like 100 yards a game. And like, it's just hard to run the ball continuously when you're the Cardinals. Okay. Kelce returns to the Chiefs. Pretty much every season Travis Kelce suits up for, he's going to be live to have the season where Robert Tonyan had, where he scores 10 touchdowns, right? Again, questions with Mahomes. Now you got more competition in the red zone with Kenneth Walker. But yeah, he's a reasonable stab late in drafts. I'm assuming his price is going to get a little out of hand. But we don't even know if Rashee Rice is like playing football. So, if he's healthy, taking stabs at Chiefs pieces, never that bad. At a cheap price, that is. If cheap. Okay, Kelce actually gets quite a bit of money. Noah Fant signed to the Saints. Day 2 of free agency. Let's go. Or day 1, actually. Loki, I guess he's a blocking tight end, yard after catch guy. We like the coach there, so he's not fantasy relevant, but, come March, if we don't like the wide receiver 2 for the Saints, you never know. Chris Olave could be traded at the trade deadline. Probably not, but things like this. Okay, moving on. Rasheed Shaheed re-signs with Seattle. Certainly not a bad landing spot. Again, Would have been more exciting if Rasheed Shaheed lands with the Chargers, the Patriots, some of these teams that were more enthusiastic on as far as like pass volume. But him, JSN, I'm not going to judge Rasheed Shaheed off of him signing to the Seahawks mid-year where his usage is weird. They paid him a lot of money. So he's a deep burner. He's good for best ball. Price is reasonable. Good to mix in, right? Would probably rather play Rasheed Shaheed 3 years, 51 than Alec Pierce 125 or whatever, 110. Okay, moving on. Kendrick Bourne signed to the Cardinals. Kind of a weird one. Bourne's a good blocking wideout, but they got Michael Wilson. They got Marvin Harrison. Maybe this is gearing up for the Cardinals to trade Marvin Harrison. Come the trade deadline, whatever. Kind of notable that the Cardinals are wide receiver buyers. Obviously a reasonable price. And Kendrick Bourne has had fantasy moments, right? Shouldn't be drafting though. Rico Dowdle signs to the Steelers. Let's get there. Okay, now I was someone of the mindset that, like, you know what? Caleb Johnson, I'm going to give you a chance here. It's year 2, typically a pretty good year for you. This obviously complicates matters because you got Jaylen Warren, you got Rico. You would assume Rico is the Thunder, Jaylen Warren the Lightning, still Warren more 1A, Rico 1B. I don't think it's officially a death nail for Caleb Johnson. Should he be drafted 100%? Definitely not. But I think it's okay. Like, come Best Ball Mania, whatever. If he's not being drafted at all, I will be taking some 18th round stabs at him. Just of the mindset where it's like, still, if Caleb Johnson shows something as a, former 3rd round pick, year 2, he's going to see the field. But yeah, arrow down for him. Rico could have had better landing spots too. We would have much rather have seen Rico with Seattle. But if Rico laughs at Aaron Rodgers' jokes the right way, whatever it takes, maybe he can get something. Kenneth Gainwell was not viewed as this like fantasy star, played with Rodgers and became like God for fantasy football. So I'm leaving the light on for Rico to get involved more also in these like dump offs from Rodgers. Okay, moving on. Yeah, the J.K. Dobbins deal, quite a bit of money. Hayden Hurst retires. Okay. Rest in peace. Tyquan Thornton re-signs with the Chiefs. He is a guy who is not being drafted always, who's definitely reasonable to mix in. We know he has, we know he has big game upside. Okay, moving on. The Pats roll the dice on a talented guard, but he has injury history. The Bills re-signed, we're getting to earlier today, Dawson Knox. I need to see the contract details here. I have not seen it yet. What it seems to be was Dawson Knox was getting paid way too much money. He's Josh Allen's best friend on the team. And what I think it really is he's basically the Bills were like, we're going to cut you unless you do this for us. And so they probably pushed all his money. He's still like, he's whatever as a player. He should not be paid that much money. But if Josh Allen likes him and the money's reasonable, who cares? I don't think it impacts Kincaid that much. I think it's pretty smart on the Bills' end where if it's reasonable, Jackson Haas is still there. Awesome blocking tight end who, maybe could grow as a wideout. And the health of Dalton Kincaid is a question, right? So if Kincaid misses time, there's no reason that you go to no confidence at tight end at all for Super Bowl contender. Knox remains a guy that you can mix in at end of drafts on Josh Allen stacks, but yeah, not a guy to break the bank for. Okay, Pacheco signs with the Lions. I think we'll talk about David Montgomery too here. In general, this is fantastic news for Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs to the moon. I already had him ranked pretty high after the wide receivers, but he's my RB1. And yeah, I talked about this before, I think, but Gibbs was only at like 80% snap share in like one game. CMC, Bijan, these kind of guys, they were there like 8-10 games. So Pacheco does not scare me at all. He runs funny. We know that. He's not like really a thumper a la David Montgomery. And I don't think he's as good as David Montgomery. It's just kind of like a nice floor signing for the Lions. Pacheco's fine to draft. You should not be like, oh, let me draft Pacheco where I was drafting David Montgomery. We're gonna get to Crosby, guys. We're going in order here. But yeah, depending on price, okay, we can mix in Pacheco. And then David Montgomery, we talked about this before, but I think it's pretty okay fantasy pick depending on price for the Texans. Should be on the field a lot. Geno Smith is to the Jets. I think, again, I'm willing to forgive Geno for last year with Chip Kelly and the Raiders O-line. I think this is good news for Garrett Wilson, who I was already pretty high on, where it's going to be very hard for the Jets to have worse passing production than they did last year. Like, that is going to improve, period. So, Geno is whatever. He's okay to mix in. I don't think he's guaranteed to start the year or even start the whole year, I meant, or even start. But good news for Garrett Wilson mainly. Okay, Romeo Doubs signs, depending on who you believe, anywhere from like 3 years, $40 million to 3 years, $200 million. Seriously, we don't have the official contract here. I'm of the mindset that, like, yeah, this is why I love the trade for DJ Moore from the Bills, where it's like, you didn't get Mike Evans. You're not getting Alec Pierce. You kind of have to go get Romeo Doubs. And Romeo Doubs is a good possession wide receiver, right? But, yeah, and I think it's fine for fantasy for him. It's going to be him, Mac Hollins. They almost certainly have to draft someone. I think the big assumption is that New England is going to trade for A.J. Brown still. That's to be determined. And then maybe New England is where Tyreek Hill lands. Maybe he's the Tyreek Hill team. I don't know. Depending on price of Dobbs, he's fine. Like, is he really going to be at 17 points per game? No, right? He's probably going to be around like 11, 12. And then also, like, Drake May's passing production was not really where we wanted it to be always. And they had the easy schedule. So he's a whatever signing for New England. You would assume, I don't know, 800 yards, 700 yards. And where he really thrives is like red zone touchdowns. Okay, moving on. Trey Hendrickson, people are interested in, wants a lot of money. Sky Moore is a Packer. Who? We're getting to, okay. So, Maxx Crosby didn't pass his physical. And honestly, this is why I think the Ravens are lucky for this, where that does not mean that he's not going to be traded at all. Still could be traded for sure. And maybe he passes his physical, and then what? Give me a second here, folks. Let me sign in. But yeah, pretty crazy. We generally don't see these trades and then them not happen. Like, that's just generally not how it works. So I don't know. That obviously was just reported. It's not the biggest fantasy implication, but in general, I do think this is why I said I didn't like the trade. 2 first for a guy coming off injury. Okay. No, and Maxx Crosby's not going to go to a team like the Dolphins. He wants to go to a contender. Although, the Dolphins are, they play in Miami. So if someone wants to be in Miami, okay. All right, let's jump in. We'll do a big board. Let's see the new prices on these players now that we've gotten through it. Let me know in the chat. Who is your favorite free agent signing? What prices are you liking that you're seeing? What prices do you think are too expensive? In general, it will take the market longer to catch up on these prices. Let's just scroll through. I'll have for subscribers to beatbestball.com, where I sell my rankings and write strategy articles. I will have ranking updates later this week. Also, I wanted to mention that Tuesday every week, I will be streaming. Tuesday night, sometime after 5, I'll be streaming until Best Ball Mania begins. Probably continue that after. Let's look at some ADPs here and just start typing them. So Mike Evans, ADP still doesn't look like it's fully caught up. 61. DJ Moore. His ADP is super caught up because I think his ADP was like in the 90s and I was 20 picks ahead and now it's one round ahead of me. So definitely need to update my rankings for that. Team Doctors decides on the physical. I'm assuming AJ Brown still ends up in New England. Like, it seems weird that New England with a ton of money would. All right, yeah, we'll take Jamar Chase. Sounds good to me. Not much has changed for the Bengals other than maybe Joe Burrow's depression levels, where their defense is not going to be that good. It's maybe even going to be worse. And we get a bet on Jamar Chase with the 3rd overall pick, right? Tyler Algier on the Cardinals. That's a nice one. Willis too cheap. Yeah, quarterbacks in general are too expensive. So Malik Willis. Who would by the way, Kyler Murray, he's going to be a Viking, probably signs tomorrow. But yeah, probably would rather have Malik than. Like, maybe Malik belongs after, like, Jackson Dart, right? Like, what's the difference? They're both going to run the football. And most of these guys are not. Right? I mean, 2 rushing touchdowns for Malik. Such a small sample for him, but. And obviously, in general, Miami's not going to win a ton of games. So, kind of a tough eval for him, I guess, even with him running it. But, like, just because I think all the quarterbacks are overpriced because I've been doing this for a long time and they are. So, like, Malik is actually appropriately priced and the rest need to come down to him. Rather, just letting you know that you're not like, oh, I should take Malik here because he's underpriced. Really, the rest of the quarterbacks should catch up. Godwin, way too cheap. So is Ibuka. Yeah, I think a lot of this stuff is going to be fixed come Best Ball Mania because there's a lot of price anchoring that happens for this pre-draft stuff. I don't think Etienne was already kind of expensive though, and I don't think he's going to like fall in price quick enough. Like Etienne's ADP is 35, which is back of the 3rd. And really, like, that's where he was pre-signing, where he could have landed with, like, Kansas City. And I think, like, to reflect him being a Saint, it should be here. Like, this is kind of crazy. I don't know. Ken Walker, 16th overall. I'm a screenshot that this is a no for me, dog. We'll tweet this live. So most of the prices in free agency, I would say, have not caught up for landing spot. And then Ken Walker's been like quadruple counted. Yes, I will continue to buy George Pickens. I mean, did people just not watch football last year? The man was electric. And he's going back to the same situation. This is a wide receiver with 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. Like, no, I'm not going to take Saquon over George Pickens. No, I will not take Ken Walker over George Pickens. I don't even really want to take Hampton or Gene T. And I don't even know if I want Jefferson. All right. Let's go Josh Allen and see if we can I like a lot of these wideouts. I think Olave, Tet, T, all appealing there. AJ Brown and Garrett, I like them too. But we're gonna see if we can cash in on like a cheap DJ Moore with Josh. Get that stack going. Well, I think the market in general just double counts things for the Chiefs, right? This is why historically we've seen a lot of overpriced Chiefs players. There's a narrative that George Pickens is not going to try. I mean, sure, George Pickens is crazy, but man had 1,400 yards. So if that is him not trying, fine with me. Thanks for being a YouTube member, dude. Going pretty well here. If I'm the Colts, I'd sign Kyler over Jones. Yeah, it's tough. I get that, though. But Kyler's not that incentivized to do that because Kyler is going to be paid $1 million from whatever team he signs to or whatever the vet min is because he's getting paid from the Cardinals still for his big contract. And so he should go to wherever he thinks is the best situation. And that is perceived to be Minnesota because of KOC, etc. So, like, basically, Kyler's goal is to revive his career to get a contract after this year, just like Daniel Jones did. I do love these Chase Pickens starts, but it is kind of like, man, I don't really want to take these running backs in any of these rounds. Like, I don't want to take third round Kyron compared to some of these guys. Here we got Ladd. Like Ladd, but quite a big drop off after Pickens and Nico, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about George Pickens' end of the year. Do we have to accept that he could A.J. Brown it? I mean, I'm sorry. Well, also A.J. Brown. But that he could Antonio Brown it at any given moment and just throw up the peace sign? Yes, we do have to accept that. But this guy's got the Bucks thing going on. Bucky and Ibuka, don't hate that. In general, it seems like free agents not in love with the Todd Bowles Bucks. Man, what a fumble by them not to sign Liam Cohen. Okay. Yeah. I will take Colston Loveland. Arrow up for him with the DJ Moore trade. Even less target competition. And probably a ton of these players should not be drafted over him. Objectively, one of the best players down the stretch for fantasy football, period. Well, I mean, with the Chargers not making any moves and Keenan out of there, I don't know about that. Here we see some olds go, Mike and Devontae. Don't mind that. I think going like The Scotabo pick remains insane to me. I think Travion Henderson is like the adult thing to do. But who cares that this is more expensive than his price? I want this Josh Allen, DJ Moore stack. If it was BBM, I would probably risk it. If I really liked Henderson, take Henderson here. Hope DJ Moore slides 5 picks past ADP. But yeah, I want to be betting on the DJ Moore. There's actually a lot of correlation too between Loveland and DJ Moore, where you're betting that both of them are freed up from the trade. And so to bet on both. So I like them on the same team. And yeah, we're going to get when you go Josh Allen in third, who cares? And I think this is like, are people really going to want to have Jalen Waddle with Malik Willis being their quarterback over DJ Moore? That doesn't make sense to me. Like just from a projection standpoint, that doesn't make any sense to me. What are you guys projecting Malik Willis to throw for, you know? I mean, RJ Harvey at least is not injured. Judkins is injured. Scotabo is injured. I would rather take Tutin than some of these guys. Tutin is not injured and Travis Etienne's out of there. So the runway is cleared for him. But yeah, Scotabo, no for me. I'm fine betting on year 2 Henderson. I would be so in on Judkins if not for that injury. I don't know if the contest fills. Let's start a YouTube poll here. Okay, I'm going to do a little poll here. A goal? No, I want to do a poll. Okay. More fantasy points. Jalen Waddle, DJ Moore. Let your voice be heard. The poll is out there. It doesn't seem like the Waddle price has been reflected for the Malik Willis signing. Alec Pierce here, interesting. What do we got for running backs? Sure. I've always been a Jalen Warren guy. You know what? No, we're going to take Parker Washington. Parker Washington is sick. I keep taking a lot of the same guys. David Montgomery, I think that's a much better pick than Scotabo. This guy has a type. So many people are going to want to build like this next year. Like get 4 running backs by round 6. Just, you know, like drafts like this are more risky, you could say, but succeed a lot better in years where a lot of people are building like this because they're going to be more unique come the playoffs. Okay. Think it's time. If I don't get Jalen Warren, we're looking at a very bleak list of names there. So Jalen Warren definitely impacted by the Chuba reasonable pick too. Definitely impacted by the Rico trade, but in this running back market, you kind of just have to ignore some of the names and take one eventually. Telling you, like, people are not reasonable with Chiefs players. Every year I'm like, how are 3 Chiefs pass catchers going to pay off a third round price tag, but we're taking this team's number 1 wide receiver in the 7th round? And every year I'm ignored. And then people are like, what the heck? God, I don't even remember. Who's the guy who Davis loves? What's his name? What's his name, guys? The fast player. I'm spacing on it. I can just type in Chiefs. Worthy. Then what the heck? Xavier Worthy's not paying off a second round price tag. I think the Michael Wilson price is pretty great with the Cardinals quarterbacks. Rico Dowdle, think that's a good pick. Are we gonna love my running back names? No, but with me having some studs at, and this is in general, this is I think how you best build a 0 RB team. You get a lot of wideouts. I think it can be debated if 4 is a lot, but then you also get an elite quarterback and an elite tight end, because what you're really trying to do is you're trying to beat every team at both quarterback, tight end, and wideout, and get enough points at running back until you hit some guys later. No, I was talking about Worthy. I don't know why I spaced on his name. And I'm kind of into the Worthy price this year. You know, as always, we hate the price, not the players. Okay, a lot of quarterbacks are going now. Do we think this guy took Joe Burrow here because I have Jamar Chase? I didn't even notice that, but it's always the guy who goes like 4 running backs and 2 wideouts. One of them has to be old, who goes naked quarterback. Always. Not really what I said, but yeah, I think Dowdle for sure could. Again, whoever laughs at Aaron Rodgers' jokes the best. We're 93 here. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to stack with Kincaid, and I'm going to be done at 2 tight ends. I don't think DJ Moore actually negatively impacts Kincaid all that much. If anything, yeah, not surprised this guy goes to another running back. If anything, could open the field for him. And you would assume that DJ Moore and Kincaid are the top 2 targets in Buffalo, with Khalil Shakir still getting some, but less of the pie. Okay, and that means I'm going to probably just stop at 2 tight ends and take extra stabs at running back. Okay, definitely need to lower Diggs here. I think we will take Blake Corum. Is he for sure going to pay off this price tag? I would say no. But again, in this crazy expensive running back market, and like when Quentin Johnston is going by him, I quite like him being one of my 8 running backs or whatever. Debo to Buffalo, I don't really see the fit. He's old. I think you're just saying that because the Bills threw a lot of screens last year. But could be right, you know. No one truly knows. This was also definitely a range where I could have just taken a second quarterback because the quarterback market is so bad right now. I would have taken Dak for sure instead of Kincaid as well to go with Pickens if he was there. I don't like the Trevor price, but I probably would have done that too. But yeah, in these pre-draft contests, just getting like some stacking is pretty valuable. Even if you're paying a bad price. I wonder what Bo's price would be if he didn't get hurt. In general, would much rather be buying Joe Burrow at pick 74. And if I had thought about it longer and wasn't streaming, I would have taken Joe Burrow where I took Parker Washington and be done at quarterback. But yeah, I'd rather have Burrow here than I would have any of these quarterbacks in the 8th round and 9th round. I drafted DJ Moore. Where do I rank him? I'm going to have a ranking update later this week, but yeah, I think in this 5th, 6th, right? If you'd rather have DJ Moore than Rome Odunze, I think that's kind of fair. He seems more stable. Okay. Let's go J.K. Dobbins. Gives me an adult in the room when I have like Blake Corum and just got a $20 million contract. Pretty similar to this like Ramondre bet at 3 rounds cheaper. I like this Gainwell pick by this guy too. I think it's prudent to take a quarterback here and be done. Sure. Shuck. Improve their O-line. Easy to stack. Does run. Actually super athletic. Yeah, maybe this guy just doesn't like me. Taking Khalil Shakir. Taking Joe Burrow. Hey, thanks for watching, kiddies. The hate watchers count too. So my squad, Josh Allen, Tyler Shuck, Jalen Warren, Blake Corum, J.K. Dobbins, Jamar Chase, George Pickens, DJ Moore, Parker Washington, Colston Loveland, Dalton Kincaid. It's weird that Shuck is going over the Super Bowl winner. I get your sentiment. However, winning the Super Bowl has absolutely nothing to do with fantasy points. And in the season that Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl, he scored 250 fantasy points on the season. 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns. Tyler Shuck didn't get to play the whole year, but had 3 rushing touchdowns and 200 rushing yards. So in general, we want quarterbacks that rush the football. Darnold in a full season had 100 less rushing touchdown or 100 less rushing yards. So Shuck in a full year, call it 300 yards, call it 400. You get more fantasy goodness from that. Derby here, AI summing up what I said. Derby Shuck runs. That's simple. Are we really going to count for Malik Willis throwing for 288 yards in a game that they lost like 1,000,000,000-0? The score was like 41-24. So in general, we want to try to add as much context to info as we can. I think it's a big edge for us in fantasy football. And like, think about it, man. Do you think Malik Willis is going to be in a ton of games where he's down by 20? No. He said bravely. Okay. So for my squad, 2-3-4-2, I'm going to risk it and stop at 2 tight ends and 2 quarterback. And that just allows me to have more darts at running back. Because I'm going to be taking some running back, not the most comfortable running back room in the world right now. All these guys are going to give me points at least. And, J.K. Dobbins could be a league winner. Blake Corum could be a league winner, if an injury happens. Jalen Warren could be really solid value here. Trey Benson's a good pick. I would have done that. Let's do Shaheed. None of these running backs make me feel warm and cozy. Think I'd rather have Shaheed than Deebo Samuel. Does make, would have kind of liked the Darnold pick with Shaheed just for stacking. This guy's got a Chief stack going on. Oh, yeah, I can zoom out now. Nope. Okay. Now, I want to take Travis Hunter because I've not taken him yet this year, and I want to be making that bet occasionally. But I'm going to take Rachaad White with the bet that he signs somewhere fun in the next coming days. Like Seattle is the main hope. You know, if you get Rachaad White to Seattle, you're hoping he's like the mid. And why is this? What's the Jordan Mason price, man? So bad last year. Yeah, really just kind of rolling the dice that he signed somewhere good. Typically not the best sign that a player's not signed by X day of free agency. Could have gone Kamara there too. Well, really, I think the plan for Seattle is for Charbonnet to be the guy eventually, but you need some guys to carry the load in the meantime. That's why I thought they could have gone for like Rico or whatever. But, you know, who knows how these teams, you know, and some runners don't fit the scheme, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Travis Hunter goes. I definitely believe in the talent of Travis Hunter. I think he would have smashed as a wideout. I just don't know. Jonathan Brooks, I like that bet as well. Definitely think Holani's a good gamble. Even if all he does is give you early season production. Thank you, sir. In general, these kind of builds are being done less. As you can see, I'm the only team not to have a running back by round 7. Everyone else had a running back by round 5 at least. Me going quarterback, tight end. Change that up. So yeah, when they zig, we zag, right? Like, why was 0 running back so bad 2 years ago? Well, one thing that doesn't help is everyone was doing it. Any advice for new chess players? I've done almost 0 research, just see random stuff on YouTube, Shorts, TikTok, and try to apply it to the games. Okay. Yes, I do. Let me make my pick, and I'll get to that. Kamara is another guy I could see ending up in Seattle to start the year. Tajay Spears. Don't mind that bet, honestly. In general, I'm more comfortable betting on some of these names I know than some of these rookies I don't currently. Let's do Kamani Vidal. I like that gamble. Very easily could see the Chargers signing someone like Keaton Mitchell and pushing him down to RB3, which is not good for him. But if he can escape free agency in the draft, Chargers got some holes. Objectively, a good pick. Braylon Allen. Man, guys, Braylon Allen, he's just not good at football. I hate to say it. It's not a good team. He's not good. He got really hurt last year. That makes me not that into him. He is big, though. So, if that gets you excited. You know what? I'm going to roll the dice on Brandon Ayuk or Tyreek Hill here. As a wide receiver 6, why not? Give me Ayuk. Reports are everywhere with him. Some reports are saying he will never play football again and that he didn't rehab correctly. And that's what, and his knee is messed up forever because of that. That was like some random 49ers beat account. Like, you guys know how these like little tweets blow out a storm, so I'm not putting too much stock into that. The other report is that he's working out currently, and he's going to sign with the Commanders this week, which honestly is like a fantastic landing spot. It's past his ADP. I've been a Brandon Ayuk guy for a long time. So, yeah, give me 15th round Brandon Ayuk. Okay, the chess question. The thing is, he's not a good goal line back. Being just big does not make you a good goal line back. You need to be explosive, and he's not. Okay, I guess this is a good time to also say that I think I'm going to be restarting my chess channel. It's currently called Liam Teaches Chess. I might change the name. Where it's just going to be me covering my tournament games as I go for Chess Master. My ELO is 2,054 over the board. That's much higher online. To be master, you got to be rated 2,200. And I'm at my peak in my 30s, which, chess is dominated by kids over the board. So holding it down for the older players. Anyways, in general, chess is calculation. So you should be doing a lot of puzzles. I also, if you're serious about getting better at chess, and no offense to you, but 300 ELO is very, very low, right? So, yeah, you need to be doing puzzles every day. I would have my students do 100 puzzles a week. If you didn't know, I'm also a chess teacher. I do both private lessons and teach at a school. And if you're really serious about getting a chess, I would get a chesskid.com account because those lessons are fantastic. I'm not saying you're dog shit, but it is a low ELO. Okay, there's no getting around it, right? 100, I think, is the minimum. But yeah, if you want to get better, do puzzles. And even if, I think the Keaton Mitchell pick could also sneakily pay off here. Again, you get Keaton Mitchell to the Chargers. Okay, not good for the Vidal bag, but fantastic for Mitchell. Like the Brian Robinson pick as well. There's a lot of running backs to like 16th round plus. Yeah, in general, just not true at the lower levels, right? Chess at its core is calculation. And even if you are not that into chess, or you're kind of into chess like Kadarius Toney is here, it's a good thing for older people to do because it let's go Ollie Gordon. AFC East, another RB2 probably. It's a good thing to do because it in general, people as they get older, they should be doing puzzles of some sorts. So Sudoku, whatever, something, right? And chess itches this part of your brain. It really helps combat the impatientness that a lot of people have due to being on their cell phone all day. And also, it's just good for your brain health to prevent Alzheimer's, etc. ML here picking up that 100 is the lowest you can go. So can tell his kids I'm a 100. Yeah, I thought about it, but I didn't click them. This documentary is actually coming out. This is not a true rumor, but yeah, that documentary is coming out April 7th on Netflix between Magnus Carlsen and Hans Niemann. Being mentally tough and adapting is part of chess. Sorry to tell you the truth, but you can't just have this I pick and attack and give up. No one is saying the Dolphins are going to be ahead in most of their games. In fact, the opposite has been said multiple times. But even in games they trail, it's very unlikely Malik Willis is going to lose by 20. Because again, adding context to that Ravens-Packers game, think about what happened. Derrick Henry had like 3 80-yard touchdowns. That does not happen every football game. Even when you're bad at football, it's hard to be down 30 entering the fourth quarter. And we've seen plenty of coaches, Brian Dable, etc., happily lose games where they're trailing by a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but not want to embarrass themselves. They're okay losing. They got the cap space to spare. Okay, let's go for another running back dart here. I think, year 2, Brashard Smith, probably going to be a little lost in the shuffle with Ken Walker landing there. I like the pick. Going to take one more wideout, with one of my wideouts being Brandon Ayuk. But in general, comfortable going with a thinner build here. This price on Geno Smith is pretty good to me, honestly. Don't really want to go Keon and like have another Bills guy. Let's go Isaiah Bond. Had almost 400 yards last year. Wins deep. The Browns are one of the teams that have to like overpay free agents to get guys to go there, but they have been getting some O-line pieces. Yeah, I was pretty intrigued by what Isaiah Bond could do. I think he's getting lost in the shuffle a little bit. 338 yards on 18 catches. Okay. Will DJ Moore be your most drafted wide receiver once the non-pre-draft contests open? Logan, that's impossible to answer right now because there's a big thing called the NFL draft and free agency still going on. And also there's time for prices to change. And also, like, once Best Ball Mania starts, they're not going to just copy and paste this ADP and put it in a Best Ball Mania. I don't know what exactly happens, but the ADP changes. So if DJ Moore opens as a third-round pick, definitely not, right? That is expensive. If DJ Moore is a sixth-round pick, well, I'm pretty comfortable betting on him if the market's not confident in it. If the Bills draft 5 wide receivers in the draft and trade for A.J. Brown, that would give me pause, right? So there's a lot of stuff that can change, I will be comfortable betting on DJ Moore, like it more Josh Allen, but like also like some of these other players. Like, okay, I really like the Christian Watson bet, so I want to be heavy on him. Some of the other names, though, I'm okay passing for DJ Moore. Like, I'm okay passing on Sutton for Moore. I'm okay passing on Metcalf. Probably okay passing on Marvin and Brian Thomas, who I think have higher ceilings but lower floors. Don't know about Tate yet or Lemon. Waddle, I would want some Waddle too. Pierce, I would want some Pierce too. But yeah, we'll see. What is the poll number right now? Can someone tell me? It requires me to open up YouTube on my end. I don't feel like doing it. Yeah, what if the San Francisco energy station like cancels out injuries? Well, most of the fantasy reaction was really negative to the DJ Moore thing. Hayden Winks was negative on it. Davis was negative on it. I think Jacob Sanderson was negative on it. So, yeah. But, I mean, look, when you ask people direct questions, like such as, like, look, would you rather have Malik Willis's one or whatever, then they start to understand. Sure. Let's do George Holani. I mean, what is Seattle's depth chart right now? Yeah, Kenny McIntosh and Holani. Did McIntosh get drafted? No, he did not. Maybe he's the better pick. I don't know. But yeah, rolling the dice on a guy who should see the field. Like, if you can draft a guy who sees the field in the 20th round at running back, you are doing a good job, you know? Right. I mean, the question was more of like a who will score more fantasy points question, not a CLV thing. Okay, so the team is Josh Allen and Tyler Shuck. We want 9 running backs. Jalen Warren, Blake Corum, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, Kamani Vidal, Keaton Mitchell, Ollie Gordon, Rashard Smith, George Holani. So no rookies. Probably want to get some rookies in here. But in general, quite a bit of scratch-offs that like could be losers or could be hits. I mean, even Rashad White's in that group. We would assume he's given points. But like Vidal, Keaton, Gordon, Rashard, and Holani. Like these guys, I would believe any story on them. I would believe we don't ever talk about them again, or some of them are the reasons that this team like wins a tournament, right? And then Warren, Corum, Dobbins, probably Rashad White too. Like these are the guys I'm probably counting on points for at a minimum week 1. Hoping some of these guys join that group. Jamar Chase, George Pickens, DJ Moore. This is the big 3 for the team. Parker Washington, I also include him as the big 4. Rasheed Shaheed, looking for spikes there. And then, yeah, Brandon Ayuk, huge question. Isaiah Bond, also looking for spikes. Colston Loveland and Dalton Kincaid. You know, you're really hoping that Loveland is just the league winner. And then Dalton Kincaid is healthy, right? So, in general, I like the squad. I think these types of builds are super fun where you get some wideouts you're comfortable with, you get a quarterback and a tight end you're comfortable with, and then you say, you know what? I'm not doing the 3-6-8-3. I'm going to go 2 because I got a stud quarterback. I'm going to go 2 because I got a stud tight end. I'm going to go lighter at wideout because I got guys I can count on, and then give me some scratch offs at running back, right? More people like to do the thing where I would say, yeah, I mean, just so many 3-6-8-3 builds, but like how this guy built, where he gets 6 running backs who he thinks he's confident in, and then he takes wide out scratch offs. More commonly done as well. All right, folks. So if you're just catching this video, I did go over free agency. I did a draft. I will have updated rankings, beatbestball.com. I charge $100 for the year for that. If you sign up for that yearly, you will, of course, get the rankings come Best Ball Mania season, May, June, July, August, September, etc. Have a wonderful day. Probably catch a stream Thursday night. I am on spring break next week, so nothing next week. Peace out. Have a good day.